Teachers, if you're looking for the best way to start tutoring online and build a side income in 2025 alongside your current teaching gig, perhaps in the classroom, this video right here breaks down exactly how to do it. I'm going to walk you through step by step inside of the video on how to get leads for tutoring online, what offer to give the students so that you can get students that pay you, how to grow your business. So if you so wish, this doesn't even need to be a side income. You can turn this into your full-time teaching gig, working way less with a teaching schedule that you're in control of. I'll show you clients already doing it so that you know that it's absolutely possible. Plus, inside of the video, I'll even break down how you can prioritize your time so you can build a side income tutoring online alongside your teaching gig. Stick with me, I know you're gonna love this one. All right, so let's jump into this video. I'm gonna cover the best way to start tutoring online and build a 2025 side income as a teacher. Or if you so wish, make online tutoring your full-time gig so that you can replace your entire teaching salary and start earning more income, have more impact, and have a teaching schedule that you control. So let's jump in. Here's what we're going to cover in this video. We'll jump into one, how to build what we call a launch offer so you can get your first students. Secondly, how do you generate leads for that launch offer? Then how do you sell the launch offer? How do you upgrade students so you can boost retention, get them life-changing results? And then if you so wish, even scale to 6 figures and beyond, like some of my clients are already doing here at the Teacher Project. So I'm going to share my screen with you. We'll walk through this on the document. Here's what we're covering, the best way to start tutoring and build a 2025 side income. Okay, so we'll go through exactly like I said, building your launch offer, generating leads, selling the launch offer, upgrading students. And as we go through this, you'll see how to scale to 6 figures and beyond, exactly like some of my clients here on the screen are already doing. John Brown, look, 100 grand this year. Let's zoom in. 100 grand in revenue. Evan, with his 2 kids, 100 grand cash collected for 2024. Evan was teaching inside of the school as a full-time teacher whilst he was doing this. Luke, 10 grand in 14 days. Tara, look, over there, 100 grand since January. She did that in just over 8 months, okay? And she started the year off when she did this inside of the classroom too. Sajib here finally reached the 10 grand milestone. Marcus over here, 10 grand a month. Quinita did 50 grand in sales since she quit teaching. When she first got started, she did that in just 12 weeks. And even college student Luke, 6-figure wins. I hit 10 grand per month in June, July, August. And so continuous results from the clients that we're working with. And they all get started using what I'm about to share inside this video. So I'm super pumped to walk you through it. And so that way you know that you can actually scale to 6 figures and beyond as an online tutor. And it doesn't just have to be a side income. It's entirely up to you. So let's walk through the first things. Now, the first thing is you need to build what we called a launch offer, okay? Because if you're just getting started online, then naturally you don't have any kind of testimonials, you don't have any results, you don't have any market presence, okay? So the best thing to do when you get started online, if you're a teacher just starting out, is to really go out there and get some students and play the long game. Now, most people aren't willing to play the long game because what they do is they attracted to short-term gratification. It's like the person going to the gym. Okay, someone goes to the gym, they want to lose a ton of weight, and they get on the scales. They have one great week, they feel motivated. They have one week that didn't go so well, they're demotivated, and they fall off the rails and they stop going to the gym. Where we all know results are an effect of compounded effort over time, right? That continuous compounded effort leads to results. Okay, so it's exactly the same thing with your business and building an online tutoring side hustle, side income, or even full-time gig, okay? You have to be attracted to the long term, okay? Now, wind yourself forward 12 months from now and you hit 2026 and you'd replace your entire teaching salary because you decided to dedicate what you're about to learn inside of this video, you would be in a completely different position, both financially and your work-life balance and, you know, like even your fulfillment as a teacher, because you're going to be working with more students. Okay, so the key is here is even though I'm going to walk you through how to build a launch offer, this is just to help you get started. Okay, this isn't gonna, you're not gonna stick at these rates, at this price point that I'm gonna share with you forever. You need to get testimonials. You need to get validation of your tutoring methods online. And that's going to give you the perfect platform to build cash flow, build some initial success, validate how you're going to get students results, gain some experience if you haven't taught online for a while, or in groups with students who are actually paying to be there. And then, like I said, get those testimonials so you can have like a solid foundation, which is going to lead to long-term success for you. So you're going for a short-term launch phase that's going to create the platform for you to then, like increase your rates and get more students and use like marketing and advertising on social media down the line. Okay, so this is a great place to start. So the first thing you want to work out is who are you going to teach? What and who are you going to teach? If you look at my screen. Now, I'm just going to break it down example for you. So you want to pick one subject. Now, it should be easy. You might be a French teacher. You might be a geography teacher, humanities, whatever it is. You should just have one subject that you can teach. Okay, now this is very important. I'll explain in just a sec. Okay, now one skill within that subject you want to teach. So you don't want to teach the entire subject, right? Because you're going to be creating what we call a launch offer, which is literally just going to be bringing in some students for about 30-day period initially, okay? So there's a skill within that subject that you could teach. For example, here I've chosen phonics for reading. Or you might just break it down to 4 weekly topics. Now, the goal of this 30-day introduction or launch offer is not to cover the entire curriculum or anything like that. It's to give a taster to the students that you want to help online, okay? So break that subject down and think about 4 weekly topics that you could cover that could help your students and introduce them to your teaching methods, or even just a skill, right? So it could even just be exam speed or exam technique or revision strategies or whatever it might be, okay? Then the other thing you want to bear in mind is keeping the student age and ability exactly the same. For example, if I was doing reading, I might just keep it to 2nd grade. Now, this is very important because this is what's going to allow you to keep the students grouped together, okay? Because if you're taking in any of a whole host of different age ranges, abilities, things like that, well, it's going to be very difficult to group the students together. And if you're really wanting to build a side income, teaching online with your own online tutoring business, then you need to be able to group the students because you don't have much time as a teacher, right? So you really got to optimize your time. And so one-on-one is the last thing that you want to do, because otherwise you end up in a position where you sold your time. And of course, your time, if you go one-on-one, has a cap on it on the income that you can earn, because you can only be able to charge so much. And therefore, you can only earn so much income. Because once you've filled up all those one-on-one slots, then you can't go any further, okay? And plus, you wouldn't then have the time to work on all the other things that you need to do inside of the business as you grow this, if that's what you're wanting to do. You wouldn't be able to speak to new parents or students. You wouldn't be able to design resources. You just basically have no life, right? So it's key to keep like a similar age or ability level on who you're going to help. So let's say here on my example, I picked reading. I'm going to teach phonics, and I'm going to focus purely on 2nd grade students who are behind in their reading, okay? Now, what I'm going to offer these students as an introductory or a launch offer is just 30 days to get students to sign up to work with me. During that time, these students, I'm going to take 1 group lesson a week with the class, okay? So they get 1 lesson a week, so basically 4 lessons, right? Which is 30 days. It's 28, but so like over a 30-day period, they're going to get about 4 lessons. Now, in terms of group sizes, entirely up to you. I'd recommend a minimum of 5, probably maximum of 10 for your first group. Of course, you can change that down the line. This depends on the age range, absolutely. It also depends on, like the subject as well. Like a language subject, you might not have 10 in the class straight away. You might need to build up to that, right? So, but 5 to 10 students per class. You're going to give them 1 homework assignment each week, and just be a simple task from the homework, the lesson that you deliver. And we'll walk through how to plan your lessons out as well. A start assessment, very important, so you can get a baseline. This can literally just be a series of 10 multiple choice questions on your subject just so you've got a baseline, okay? An end assessment so you can measure the progress, and then you do a one-on-one review call with each student and parent at the end of the 30 days. So you can give some feedback and actually collect a testimonial. Okay, so that's kind of like a review call, testimonial collection, and the ability to then get the student to extend and keep working with you. Okay, and we'll cover that as we go through the video. So keep watching because I'll give you the exact framework for that call as well inside the video. So make sure you keep watching it. Now, how you price this, what I would do, I would tier this pricing model for your first kind of 50 students. Okay, so students 1 to 10, the first 10 students you get, I keep it at $97. Okay, students 11 to 25, you can do 197. Okay, so up to 25 students. Increase the rate after a while. And what this does is it allows you to actually be honest with the parents and the students when you're speaking to anyone who reaches out to say, hey, yes, this is a special intro rate for the first 10 students. It is going to increase, and I've only got 3 spots left at this rate. And then it will be increasing by $100 or £100 or whatever your currency you're dealing in. Okay, doesn't even have to go to 197. It could go to 147. You might boost the rate by 25% every 10 students or every 5 students. You decide. But here's an example. And then students 25 to 50, 250 bucks. Okay, for the 30 days, and this intro offer that we've laid out. Okay, now what I will say is this. I recommend taking in as many students as you can at this intro rate, okay, and this launch offer rate. Reason being, you are really setting yourself up for long-term success. Exactly like what I said before, that the more students you bring in at this, the more testimonials, the more case studies you're going to get. And so it's really going to tee you up for long-term success. You've got to be thinking long-term here because those students, you get them great results. They're going to give you great testimonials. They're probably then going to refer you. So you're giving your business a real solid base right from the start. I've grown all my businesses this way, and it really works. Okay. So now in terms of when you're going to start teaching, so now you know what you're going to kind of offer, and we'll talk about what you might teach, whatever, in a second. Now, I would pick a date for the first class 3 to 4 weeks in the future. Okay, so let's say I'm starting this today, just say random day. Let's say it's 1st of January, right? Well, I'm then going to say, hey, my classes are starting on the 1st of February, right? So I'm going to give myself the entire January to go out there, get students, get as many as I can to launch my groups, okay? Now, so this should say per week. Now, what I would do, let's load up a blank calendar. Let me just load up a calendar 1 second. All right, so you'll see on my screen now, I've got a calendar. So I'm filming this on Monday, the 13th of January, right? Now, what I would recommend to do is block out where you're gonna have these classes, okay? So let's say on my calendar, I'm gonna do one. If I just go there, class 1, 5 till 6 on a Monday. And obviously this is random times. You can do it. Class 2, you can do it wherever you want it. Yeah. Class 2, I'm going to change the color so that I know. Class 3. Class 4. And maybe I'll do a class 5 as well afterwards on a Monday. All right, so block out where you're going to have 3 to 5 classes. So if I'm taking 5 students per class, right, and I've got 5 classes, I've got 25 slots to now fill, okay? Now, if I was taking 10, I've got 50 students I can fit in those classes. And the reason why I would have this, and I would map this out straight away, is as you start speaking to new students and parents, you can say which class that they can go in based on time slots. Now, obviously, based on demand then, too, what you can do is, as I've done here on the Monday, I've put back-to-back time slots. So we can have a early and a late finish. You don't even have to map it out every day of the week like that. You might just decide that you're just going to be teaching every Tuesday and Wednesday, and you might have 2 hours back to back, and then it's your job to fill those slots with new students. You have an early slot and a later slot based on what time that they can do, right? Or you could keep it open and they can attend any of those slots as well. Okay, they can attend the earlier or they can attend the later slot, okay? So open up something like that on your calendar. Okay, and then just make it your goal to fill 25 to 50 spots. And so if you're only taking 5 per class, in order to get the 50 spots full, you're of course going to need to have 10 open slots. Okay, so but at the end of the day, that's 10. Let me just grab my phone. If you sell 50 slots times by 97, that's like, let's just call it $5,000. That's to presume that you never even increase the rate like I showed you on here. So you're going to make close to almost 10 grand, almost, right? Like with that, in fact, probably more. You know, so let's say that you've got 10 times 97, that's 97 is $1,000. And then you've got 15 places or 14 places, sorry, 15 times 197, which is $2,000 and 9,055. And then let's say that you had 25 times 250 equals this. That's just over 10 grand. So if you were to fill all 50 spots that I've shared with you here on the breakdown, it's just over 10 grand in sales, right? If you have to follow that exact model. Now, you're going to be able to make 10 grand from this using what I'm showing without spending any money on advertising. So, of course, then at that point, let's just say that 20% of those students extend and work with you, or even just 25, a quarter of them, you're going to make even more return on that as well. Okay. So as I was saying, exactly this, based on demand success, open up a second teaching slot so you can offer an early and later class time. Okay. And then just aim to fill those slots. So that's the first thing you need to do. Okay. So the next bit then is, of course, generating leads. Now, there is actually one thing that I want to share with you before we move on. So you can use, if you haven't really used it, you can use things like ChatGPT. So on the group, if you're wondering what you're going to teach, okay, so the skill for your subject, I've actually already plugged this into ChatGPT. So if we load this up, here's an example of what I put in. So I use ChatGPT and I put prompt. I am an online tutor and I'll be offering an initial 30-day introductory program to gain testimonials and get my first groups of students signed up. During the 30 days, I want to teach 4 different weekly topics to give my students a taster. The end goal will be to get the students to upgrade and commit for 12 weeks after initial 30 days. Okay, here's the 30-day intro deliverables. 1 lesson a week, a homework task, start assessment, end assessment, one-on-one review call. Okay, first, what would be the best weekly topics for the 4 lessons I'll be teaching on Zoom? And it's going to give me a full breakdown. It's even going to tell me my homework. Okay, what homework task I could give to the students, okay, each week. If I really wanted to go even further, I could also say to it, please give me 10 times multiple choice questions I can use as a start assessment to give students before they begin, so we can measure the baseline and locate knowledge gaps. Now, obviously, you're a teacher, right? You probably know all of this, but I'm just showing you how quickly you can use the AI. Here's 10 multiple choice questions for your start assessment. And now I could do this live on Zoom with my students. Again, I could test them. Okay, I could do this in the initial sales call or consultation. I might have a parent and student. I can do it as a video. I could create a quick screen share, just like I'm doing on this video, send it over to the parents and students and get them to give me their answers, and they have to submit it before the class starts. And that way I've got a baseline. But the reason why I'm showing you this is because I don't have to do it just for the start assessment. I can now ask it to create me the entire lesson plan. Okay, now, as I said, you're probably an expert in your teaching niche, and you should be, right, as you wouldn't be here. But this is how quickly you can just map this entire thing out of what you're going to teach and use AI to be your best friend. And you might already be using some other AI tools anyway, okay? So let's move on. Here's how you generate leads. Well, the first thing I'd want to do is use a social post. So I'm going to show you how to get leads for free. So you're really going to want to use your own network. All right. Now, even if it's enough just to get you your first 5 students, you've got a group. You're going to be making some side income from tutoring online. Then you're going to gain testimonials and results. Then you can start to use things like paid advertising on social media like Facebook, Instagram down the line. Okay, once you've got those initial results. So here's an example social post that you might put on your social media. You can take a screenshot of this. You can draft it out. And the reason why I'm not giving you a copy is because obviously, you want to customize it a little bit to what you've got rather than just use this example. Okay, it wants to be a little bit more unique to you, but here's a framework that we've seen work very well. Okay, so you can just post this on your social media profile. 10 third grade, or be very specific here. So 10 second grade students wanted to boost their reading. So I'm just going to show you me customizing it live. That way you can see how I'm thinking. Boost their reading skills in just 30 days. Okay. Hey parents, I'm launching an exclusive case study program designed to help students become more confident and proficient in their reading. Now, I might also be very specific. Remember what we said? We only want to attract one specific type of student. Students in the second grade at school. That way, people who are 4th grade, 3rd grade, or whatever, or 1st grade, kindergarten, or whether it's in the UK, it's year 1, year 2, year 3, whatever it is, I don't want them to reach out because otherwise I'm going to have to create lots of different groups, okay? Or I'm probably going to have to take the students on one-on-one. I want to get the exact same type of student coming in, okay? And then you're just going to be honest, all right? So I'm just going to say, look, I want some incredible case studies and testimonials from dedicated students who are ready to improve their reading skills. In exchange for participation, I'm offering a 30-day program packed with value at a fraction of the usual cost your child will get, and you just tell them all of the things that you're going to be giving them, which are the exact things I got you to, we walked through up above. 30 days with 1 lesson a week, weekly homework, start assessment, a one-on-one review session, and so much more. But this isn't for everyone. You do want to put some qualifiers here because you don't want everybody reaching out. So you can put the grade, year/grade, right? So think about what school group you're in. You're being honest that they're going to commit to one group lesson a week. They're going to be putting in effort and time to complete the homework tasks. And it's really just getting them to self-qualify at this point, okay? Then a simple call to action, so CTA. This sounds like it'd benefit your child, or maybe someone you know as a parent of a child who might need this. I want to hear from you. Here's what you need to do. So you do need to give them clear instructions. Comment below with the word read if you're doing reading, or geography, or French, or in. It doesn't have to be the subject thing, so I might put something like this. Read, or message me directly for more info. Looking forward to helping your child excel in their reading, build a strong foundation for your success. Your name, blah, blah, blah. Once we chat in Messenger, so you need to be honest with what's going to happen so people know what the next steps are. Once we chat in Messenger, if your child qualifies, we'll schedule a call to secure their spot in the program. So use something along the lines of this, right? Now, obviously, I've used some emojis and things like that in there. That's kind of key because if you're going to put this on social media, people are used to seeing emojis, so it looks natural, right? So if I now take this and I copy that, I might go to my own social media, so the one that's got all of my friends, okay, on it, and I'm going to click on my profile, and I'm going to go and post it on my profile, okay? So I'm going to click it there, and what I recommend you post it with an image. You can see a lot of the posts that I've used over here. I use images with them. Why? Because, it's going to stand out on people's news feeds and things like that. Yeah, so here's some images of me. Anything you post, pop an image. It's going to really grab attention. Obviously, I'm not going to post this on my profile. So go and do that. And I know what some of you will be thinking. Some of you won't do it watching this, even though I'm giving you a clear strategy. Some of you won't do it. And that's because you're probably worried or scared what other people are going to think of you. But if you're worried about what other people think, you're not going to get anywhere, right? So you've just got to bite the bullet and you've got to do it. Okay, don't worry about what other people think. They haven't got your goals. If you've set a goal as a teacher to make more income on the side, and you want to start tutoring online, then you're going to need to put yourself out there. And most people don't get the results that they want in life because they're not willing to do what it takes to get those results. To get results you don't have, you've got to do something you've never done. Okay, so if you're worried what people are going to think, don't worry. Okay, because there's going to be people out there who do want what you've got, and you've got something of value, so go and post it on your social media profile. Okay, now also don't create a separate Facebook account or social media profile to go and do that, because it's not going to have the impact, because it hasn't got your friends on it, right? The whole goal is you're going to pick up some low-hanging fruit, people who already know you and trust you on your profile. Yeah, and then obviously just get family members, friends to share the post as well. Tag anyone that they might know, and you should get some initial inquiries from that. Okay, the next way. So I'm going to walk through. So that's one thing. Now, what you can also do is you can put a few other follow-up posts after that. And that's something that we absolutely do teach our clients here at the Teacher Project. We don't just give them one post, obviously. We've got some validated ones that we've used that we know work. And so we give you a whole host of different posts to use, so you're not just relying and banking on one post. If that's something you're interested in, stick to the end. I'll share with you how you can get some of those additional posts, okay? Now, other way you can generate leads for free is to message your entire social list. Okay, so contact 100 people every day. Alex Hormozy actually teaches this in his book, $100 Million Leads. But it's like an old strategy. Everybody knows this, right? It's start on the platform where you've got the most contacts. I'll use Facebook just as an example. Okay. Now, before you contact them, check out their social profiles, see what's new, see if they've been on holiday, what they've been up to, and then if you can only message them on Facebook, but if you've got these people on SMS and you've got their email, you could contact them there as well. Because that way, if you've got WhatsApp, you could send someone a voice note. Okay. Now, contact them up to 3 times. Okay. Now, if they don't respond after 3 times, stop contacting them. I'm sure they'll reach out at some point and reply. They're probably just busy in their day to day. Okay. Just the nature of the beast. A lot of people won't reply, and also just give them a little bit more time. But what you're going to do is once you've messaged someone 3 consecutive days without reply, you just move on to the next person, okay? So, or they might respond, and that way you're going to get them booked in for a call to chat with them about your launch program, okay? And then once you've contacted the first 100, doing that exact process, so 100 people, contact them every day for the next 3 days until they reply, okay? Or 3 days straight. They might reply on day 1. And that way, if you've got someone replied, you can move onto the next person on your list, okay? So just basically contact everyone on the platform using that process. For example, let's say you've got 1,000 contacts on Facebook. That's going to be 30 days of reach outs, yeah? Because if you're doing 3 people a day, let's say, 100 people a day, contact them 3 times, then, to get 30 people, it's going to be it's going to take 30 days, right? If you break that down, okay? So I'm going to give you an example script of what you can say. So here's an example of what you might say. Okay, so exactly what I was saying, look for what they're currently doing in their business or their life or whatever, or what, because some of these people you might not have checked in for a long time, right? So, and compliment them. Don't just reach out and message them what I'm going to share and just go straight for the kill. Engage, they're refrained, okay? Now, I do recommend you have this on your profile first. So the post that I shared with you, I recommend that you have that on your profile first, because if you message someone and they say, I haven't spoke to so-and-so, whatever your name is, for a while, let me check out how they've been doing. And then they go to your profile and see this pinned to the top of your profile as one of the last posts you made. That's going to be really key. Okay. Now, even if this person hasn't got any kids, okay, they might know someone. So do not let that be an obstacle or a roadblock that stops you from reaching out, because you don't know what you don't know, okay? So remember I said, this is a numbers game, okay? You're going to have to be consistent with something you haven't done, and this is going to seem hard in the beginning, all right? So once you do check out their profile, comment and compliment on that in Messenger. Hey, I saw you've been on holiday. Looks like you're keeping well, da, 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 da. You might like a couple of their recent profile pictures as well, so that it blows up on their notifications, and that way they're going to probably see your message. And then, example, hey, how are you? Looks like you've been keeping busy with family this year. Have you managed to get away anywhere? Just general small talk, right? And then, hey, that's awesome. You've been traveling a load, such a go-getter, whatever. Just compliment them, right? So just acknowledge whatever they said, compliment them, You got anything else planned for 2025? How are the kids getting on? How's Steve? Let's say you were speaking to a woman and her husband's called Steve, whatever. Okay, so here's some examples. You can take a screenshot of this, obviously, on the screen. Now, here's the point. So now you've built that initial small talk, you've re-engaged with them, and now you're just going to get permission and ask. So, hey, do you mind if I ask you something? Ask permission first. Do you happen to know anyone that has an ideal student, second grade student, a student or a child in second grade, or whatever year group you're teaching, or whoever is the student? Okay, and be honest with them. I'm just starting to take on 5 case studies or 10 case. Keep it limited so it sounds more exclusive, because obviously it is. The first 10 are going to get that discounted rate, right? Does anyone you like come to mind? Now you can change this, and you can ask them, who do you know? Who do you know that comes to mind? Now the reason why you might put who, because if you said, do you know anyone? They might just say no. But if you put who, they're going to think specifically out of the people they know who has a child or whatever who's in second grade or whatever it is. Well, obviously, it could be them. You know, like they might have it. Okay, so there's an example. Again, you can snapshot on the screen. Do you happen to know any parents with children in first, second grade who'd love to learn about how to boost their reading skills much faster than the other kids at school? I'm just starting to work with students online. I'm taking on 5, or you could put 10 student case studies over the next 30 days, so I can help them get fast results. Who do you know that comes to mind? Now, then you can get them to connect you in Messenger, and you can even give them this example. Hey, if it's easier for you, just send this. I've got a friend who's such an awesome reading teacher, and she's taken on 5 students to help them boost their reading skills. This could be awesome for you. Would you be interested? Okay, so then if they're open to it, you can just connect us both here. All right, so when I say that, you're going to send that to them, and you just get them to create a group chat or give them the number. It doesn't matter. All right, and then arrange the call. Just be super direct, because the offer's really direct. By that, I mean the post and what it is you're doing. The post that we created, put on your social media profile, it clearly states what it is you're doing and what you're offering. So you just want to then get in contact. Hey, I understand you've got a child who's in second grade but wants to boost their reading. I definitely love to see if we could help. Do you have a few minutes over the next couple of days? Okay, be very specific. You could even say today or tomorrow. That way you're going to speed things up so you can start speaking to people quickly. Okay, it shouldn't take too long. Then offer 2 days. Yes, I do. Cool. Well, how is today? How is tomorrow? Or if they say no, well, how is Thursday? How is Friday? Always just offer 2 different days. Then once you've narrowed it down to which day, offer the afternoon or the morning. Okay, and obviously that might depend on your time, because you might have something else going on in your life. So probably evening, okay? So you could even say before 5 or after 5 or whatever, okay? And then offer 2 times, narrow the time down, and you're gonna send them a calendar invite, okay? So that's what you can do there. Now, also what you can do to generate leads. So I kind of showed you the messaging script of what you can say. Now, it's really kind of the same. That's obviously you contacting each of your people on your social profile. I just showed you Facebook. You might also have people in your WhatsApp list that you could contact. You might have Instagram that you can go through and do the exact same thing there. And there's a ton of other strategies that you can use, and you can follow that exact process. And again, I can talk to you about how we can help you with things like that towards the end of the video. Now, you've got 2 ways to get free leads. Third way, okay, what I would look to do, and again, this just requires you to be consistent, okay? So don't just do it for one day and think, oh, didn't get anyone reaching out. Of course you're not going to, because your effort needs to compound and you'd be consistent with it, because consistency always wins, right? So what I would look to do, locate 10 local community groups or mums groups, school groups, exam groups, and then you can use the search bar to find keywords like tutor, reading, school, education, exams, and then make it a daily habit to just respond to 5 to 10. So I'll put 5 here, 5 to 10 comments in those groups per day and give value. Okay. Now you're wondering where you're going to find the time to do this. I'm going to walk you through that in just a sec. And then anyone who responds and you see might be an ideal fit, you're going to engage with them. You're going to send them a friend request, okay? And you can shoot them a direct message and use the similar script to what I just showed. Hey, how are you getting on? Saw you've been up to this, whatever. Saw you were in XYZ Facebook group. Do you mind if I ask you a question? Hey, I'm starting a case study group, and you follow that exact same messaging script, okay? Then you can try to post your social media profile also. I'll show you me doing this live in the groups in a second, but you could try and post your social media post like I gave you up above, and I gave you an example of one. You could try and post that in other people's Facebook groups too. And I will say that doesn't fly as much anymore because group admins, sometimes whoever owns the group, perhaps they don't want you to post in their group and market and advertise. So I will say you need to give value first in the group. You need to become a valuable group member. And then you could perhaps reach out and ask the admin. So let's have a look at me doing this. So if I was to load up Facebook, let me just go to the search bar. All right, and I'll put, right, I'm just going to go into this Brixworth Let Us Know one. I'm originally from a village called Brixworth, so I'm in a local community group. But you can join local community groups of local towns. Obviously, this doesn't need to be where you're from. Okay, now you could use that as a start base because people are going to probably know you in your local community, right? So, and then you can just find other villages, towns, cities, states, their local community groups or mums groups, things like that. And you can just go in there. So if I was to type in the search bar, teach or school. Let me just say school, for example. Now over on the right-hand side, I can put most recent. And so kids' pizza school being fun, half term. Now, I don't even have, even if there's no comments on it, but I could put like on this. And I could, this looks so awesome. Looks so awesome. Awesome. Keeping the kids busy inside of the half term is a great idea. Whatever, right? Now, Pittsford School. Like, so here's an actual school one. Now, I'm looking for comments that I can potentially respond to. And again, like I said, it doesn't even have to have a comment, but if you see them on there, you can reply and just give value to the community. You basically want to try and become a household name in that community, okay? Then what you can do is ask the admin. So we'll go on to here, members. Now it should show me who the admin is, look. Paul Harris and Sean Ewing. So now I can go and add them as a friend, and I could say to them, hey, I'm looking to launch a program for students wanting to do XYZ result. I have something to post of value. Would you mind if I shared it inside of the community once I've been giving value and becoming a household name? Now, you could also, so if I go and find in the search bar, so type in GCSE, you can type in buzzwords, GCSE info. Look, so GCSE, if you're not from the UK, is an exam in the UK that students take at the end of secondary school when they're like 15, 16 years old, okay? So there's an official community. So you can search exam board communities, things like that. Let me go inside of there. It's got 20,000 people in there. Now I can look for questions. There's obviously people responding in there as well. Now you do kind of have to compete with those ones. So you just got to be, you've got to plan your, responses better. Now, most likely in this type of community, they're not going to let me put my advertising post. Yeah. But I can be looking for questions from students or parents. And that's why you can be using that search bar over on the group to look for, let's put help, right? And I'm sure a lot of people, due to parents' food, I've excluded them, I'm going to have to homeschool her. Cool, so there's someone. I can go in there and give value. And again, so this is what I'm talking about. Look for people's comments. It doesn't have to be just related to your subject or whatever, but people you can reply to and respond to and become a household name in a group to tee you up to post your social media posts. That's one way you can do it. And you can go a lot deeper than that, which we do teach our clients. But if you aim in all of the groups, join 5 to 10 different social media groups like that, mix it up. I like to think 4-dimensional, right? So not just related to tutoring, and I'm looking for a tutoring group like this. I'm going to be looking for mums groups, as I said, local community groups, maybe even small business owner groups, maybe school groups, university groups, all these type of things where there could be potential clients. right? Or basically parents who've got students, okay? So do that. And then, exactly like I said, 5 to 10 comments a day in each of those groups. Build up, become a household name, ask if you can then make your post. If not, what you could be doing is you might actually, once you've got your post on your social media profile, people are probably going to check you out and see it, and then you'll be able to help them anyway, okay? Now, you're wondering where you're going to get the time to do this. Well, step 3 is staying focused, so a little bit of a bonus for you. So what I would do, you need to be laser focused in this time. Now, once you've decided you're going to start your tutoring class, your first class, and try and fill the first class to start on the 1st of February, let's say, if you were doing this at the beginning of January, or it doesn't matter when it is, but 3 to 4 weeks down the line, that you should not do, once you've made that commitment, all you should be doing with your time to work on your business like this should be to find and generate leads. And again, some days you're going to have no luck. You might have no luck for 7 days, but then the next 7 days, you might have a load of luck, right? And you might have people reaching out, and it's like a muscle, right? In the beginning for you, and exactly what I've put here, just jumping the gun a little bit, step 4 on my screen, you've got something of huge value. So in the beginning, this is going to seem hard. You're probably going to be rubbish at it. You're going to be slow at it. You're going to get frustrated. And that's, again, why most people won't be successful, because they're not willing to do what's hard. They're not willing to have short-term pain for long-term gain. Okay, but everything you do, going back to that muscle, is like a muscle. Okay, for your muscles to get bigger, you have to train them consistently, right? So in the beginning, think of it like a muscle. It's pretty weak. It's never been trained before, so it's very difficult. You can't do much, but now you keep going, keep going, keep going. It gets easier, and you build the habit, okay? So how do you stay focused then? Well, there's 2 options. One, you go to your calendar and you block out like a 60-minute focused work block on your calendar, and you make sure it's scheduled, because when it's scheduled, it gets done, right? Then you create a 10-minute buffer, I should say buffer, and repeat another 60-minute block after that. So this is called the 60-10. I actually learned that from Robin Sharma in the 5 a.m., I think it's called 5 a.m. Club, his book. Really good strategy. And then option 2, another one from his book, Robin Sharma, the 5 a.m. Club. You dedicate 90-minute block, and you just aim to do this for 90 minutes for 90 days straight. Okay, 1 time a day, a 90-minute block, and do this for 90 days straight. Okay, again, if you can't dedicate that time, customize it to you and just keep it focused like that. Then, and the most important thing is, in those time blocks, set yourself some targets so you know when you're done, right? Then you can either choose to do 1 more or 10 more based on how quick you get at this. Okay, so for example, in this block of 60 minutes, I'm going to make sure that I find 10 potential parents or students to message. And if you see people commenting in those groups that I shared, for example, you could send them a friend request and reach out, start the process like I shared with you in the messaging script, okay? And then again, it's going to compound. And you might track this in your diary. You might have a planner where you might do like a tally chart and do it that way. Now, again, we give our clients actual trackers for all of this, so you can plan it out and you can see your efforts compound, so you know exactly what inputs you need to make to get the outputs, those being students. Okay, so again, I'll talk to you about that at the end and how you can get some of those trackers and things like that. So let's just load up that calendar example. So what I would do is block this out. Let's just give the 60-10 example. So let's say that at 6 p.m. every evening, I'm just going to put 60-10 focus. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to create a 10-minute buffer. So I'm going to block in there, 60-10 buffer. And the reason why you put a buffer is because then you give yourself 10 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to change the time. You're going to give yourself a 10-minute breather, okay? That allows you to reset, so you can easily do 60 minutes of focus work, right? And then you add in another one, if you can. So that would be at 7:10 to 8:10, boom. Right, and you're going to block that out on your calendar. You do it every day. Now, you can just set these for reoccurring if you really want to. And I can put does not repeat at the top, and I can put weekly on a Monday, or daily every weekday, Monday through Friday. right? And you can see here what it's done. It's blocked across my calendar, okay? So do that and stay focused. Right, let's move on to step number 4. Guys, quick interrupt. I hope you're enjoying the video, but I wanted to make sure you picked up your copy of Teaching on Your Own Terms. It's my best-selling book, and it shares with you the exact 5 steps that I've used with over 2,000 teachers at this point, helping them build their dream online teaching businesses. It went to bestseller in 7 categories. It's been featured by NASDAQ in Times Square, New York City. And I know you're going to love it. Inside of the book, you're going to learn things like how to position yourself as the go-to tutor in the marketplace, and the offer that you can create to get your ideal students reaching out, and how to communicate that. I'll share with you what I've seen as the best advertising strategies to get in front of new students and parents who want what you've got, how to sell your services, and everything you actually need to include in an online group tutoring business to make sure your students crush it and get great results. There's some free gifts and bonuses in there. I think in the first couple of pages, there's a link. You can go and grab some free gifts on me, but I know you're going to love it. Teaching on Your Own Terms. I'll leave a link down below in the comments, and go and pick up your copy today. Okay, so step number 4. Step number 4 is about selling the launch offer, okay? So step number 4, there's a few parts to this, and I'm going to walk you through. So the first thing is the call confirmation. So once you speak to people in perhaps Messenger and you've generated some leads, whether it's from your people who reached out after your social post that we walked through, whether it is from you contacting your own list, or seeing people in Facebook groups giving value, seeing potential clients or parents that might have students, because you can check out people's profiles in those groups, right? Generally, that was why I said the local community groups and the mums groups, things like that on Facebook, is because they're going to have kids, right? So once you've spoke to people in Messenger and they're happy to chat with you, here's what you do. You go to your Google Calendar. Let's just use this example I was just on in step 3. And let's say you've now arranged a call for Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Okay, so you go to your calendar, create event, your name plus parent name. Just call it the game plan of whatever subject is you're teaching. Just book it in for 30 minutes, okay? And then where it says add guests, you just put their name at their email.com, all right? Obviously, they would give you their email, and then you can even put the Zoom link, okay? So where it says add location, you can load up Zoom, you do it on Zoom, or if you're going to just be calling them, I recommend you do it on Zoom, because it gets them used to actually using Zoom on their computer. And to be honest, most days, most people have got Zoom these days anyway, right? So you can add your Zoom link in, or you can just shoot that over to a messenger if you need. It's very key you send this to them and you click save. That way they're going to get a notification. It's going to come up on their calendar so they don't miss the call. Because believe it or not, even though you agree to meet with someone, it's just nature of the beast. People's days, anything can happen, right? And they haven't paid for this service or whatever, so they're probably not likely to commit to it. If something comes up that's more important there, or they might forget about it because it's not something that normally happens. So I recommend you just send them a calendar invite so it's there in their diary, okay? So make sure you do that. Can you just hit save, and you can ask them, hey, did you get the calendar notification come through, okay? So you can do that. Now, confirm they've got it, as I said, and then the night before, send them an SMS or a message if you spoke to them in Messenger, and the morning of the call as well. So, hey, looking forward to chatting tomorrow. Morning of the call, hey, here's the Zoom link for the call at 2 p.m. or whenever you're speaking to them, or 8 p.m. Yeah, so just make sure you do that, and that way you're going to be making sure that they're going to attend the call. What I recommend you do, I'm going to put this as optional, but what we recommend is to send like a quick lesson if you can. Now, this probably isn't necessary. This might not be necessary for people you already know if it's from your own contact list, because you've already got trust with them. But as you go, what might make sense in the future, just create a quick video like I'm doing here, and you can create a quick lesson document like this of you teaching a lesson, okay? An example lesson of what you're going to teach, or it could even just be the 5 tips to help your child learn to read. Just something to provide value. And that way you've built a little bit of trust, you've given some value so that they come onto the call already understanding how good you are as a teacher. Okay, and this could just be a written form, it could be some sort of video, but just some sort of homework task to build trust and build rapport that you could shoot over to them before you have a chat with them. This works better for strangers, right? So specifically those people in other people's Facebook groups you might be chatting with. It's probably not essential to get your first students, but over time, this will help you close more deals and enroll more students, okay? Now, in terms of how you deliver the sales calls, I do have a separate YouTube video. You can go and check it out where I walked you through the actual sales script in terms of delivering sales calls. I'll probably link it in the comments or the description of this video so you can check it out. But quick run over of what the sales script looks like. Once you jump on with the parent and the student, here's what you're going to do. Quick report. So, hey, how are you doing? How's the weather? Let them know. So pre-frame, hey, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions to make sure I can definitely help. And then you tell them what it is you're doing. I'm on a mission to help students in second grade learn to read better. I've found that, there's a really great way to help students speed up their learning. So because this is the first time I'm taking this online based on everything I've learned, again, you can just take a snapshot of this sales script here, and then you can use it that way, right? So you're just super honest with them at the start of the call. Why are you offering this launch program? Okay, why are you doing it? In exchange, I'm taking on a few students in a couple of groups online to show how awesome what I've got to teach is. That way you can get amazing results, really just, and then exchange for some potential testimonials. Okay, is this something you think you'd be interested in? Okay, so just have a read of the script, take a snapshot of it. Then you ask for permission. Once you've laid out what it is you're doing, why you're doing it, who it's for, okay, ask for permission. To make sure it's right for your child, I just want to ask a few quick questions to see what it is they need help with specifically, okay? Then if it looks like I can help, we can walk through how to get started. Does that make sense? Okay. And now the third part is fact finding. So this is the point where you just want to ask a few things about what the parent needs or what they would like their child to be achieving, or if it's an adult learner, the adult. Best way to do that is just start off with this question. This works dream. So firstly, if I had a magic wand and I could instantly improve Jimmy's reading skills, or I could instantly wave away his biggest struggle with his reading, what would it be and why? All right, and now they'll tell you exactly where the child's at, why they would even want help in the first place, okay? And then you just want to ask some other questions. Why do you feel they've been struggling with this? How long has it been an issue? What have they tried? See what potential roadblocks are, challenges that the student's having. Is it having an impact on anything else? And now, so you basically gained point A. So if you were to think of like a piece of paper, a horizontal piece of paper, and then if you were to put point A, you to draw point A at the bottom, put a circle around it. Now in the top right of the piece of paper, you put point B. Now you want to understand, so you've got point A, their current struggles, their current start point, where they are right now in their education with whatever subject it is you're teaching. And then point B, what would be the dream outcome, okay? And then from there, you're just understanding what it is they need to succeed. So the steps to get them to point A, if you were to draw a line from point A to point B, what are all the things that they need to get to their dream outcome, right? So to ask them about their dream outcome, you can ask questions like, hey, if we were to fix this, how would it help at school? How would it feel if that would happen? How important is it right now? And then, like all the things they need to succeed, as I've got here. Would it be additional support? Would it be motivation? Would it be more feedback? Okay, and that's all the steps you need to get there. Now, a lot of people also, you could also say this a little bit more advanced. I haven't really got, it'll be a little bit too in-depth, this video. We might have time to go through it all if I did this. But people also call it expanding the gap. So you need to get point A, point B, where their current situation is, the desired student outcome or dream outcome, and then you need to expand the gap so they can see that they actually need help. And expanding the gap comes from you asking questions like, what has been their roadblocks? What are they struggling with? How long has that been going on for? I say, so once you understand exactly if you can help the student, because that's what this is about. You don't want to take on students you don't think you can help, right? So once you know you can help, this is when you make the pitch, okay? So just to summarize, you tell them exactly what's going to be happening. So basically it's 30 days, one homework lesson a week, start assessment, end assessment. You just tell them the structure of what it is you're offering. why you're doing a start assessment, why you're doing an end assessment. So they understand what they're getting into, okay? So they're obviously going to agree to that. So, hey, that way, once we've been through this over the next 30 days with one lesson a week, a homework task, a start assessment, end assessment, they're, of course, going to be able to see some progress. Would you like this? Would this be good for you? And, of course, once they agree, now you just need to present 3 conditions to making this happen. Okay, condition 1, you need to get them to just say that, hey, they're going to make sure the child shows up, right? So you need to get some sort of accountability to qualify them to make sure they're going to be a good student. And obviously, they're not going to say, no, we're not going to show up, right? So condition number 2, you really want to ask them, hey, at the end of the 30 days, the reason why I'm doing this is, is so that this launch program, this introductory offer is so that some students can test what I'm about to teach online, right? And so I can show you how amazing it's going to be. So based on that, so we can inspire other parents and students. At the end of the 30 days, are you okay to jump on and a quick Zoom call, perhaps like this one, and share some feedback about how awesome it was so we can inspire other parents. That way you're getting some initial testimonials. And then the last condition is what I'm going to be doing, since it's only for 10 students and since this is an introductory offer, okay, I am going to be increasing the rate. And you let them know, like long term, it's going to be $250 a month or whatever, or this is an intro rate. And you let them know it's $97 or £97 for the 30 days. And you need to frame it so that, hey, it's not a lot, but it's enough to give you the leverage to know that I know you're going to implement, you're going to follow through. And that way, I can help you over the next 30 days, okay? I'm only offering this rate for 10 people, the first 10 students. Once it's gone, the tuition is going to raise to whatever it is you're raising it, okay? And you get them to agree to that condition. So we asked very little commitments in the beginning. The commitment 1 was just are you going to stay accountable? Obviously they are. Commitment number 2 is, hey, can you give a testimonial? Now we ask a little bit more. That's when you frame the investment at the end, okay? And then you let them know, hey, here's what's going to happen next. We'll finish today. We'll send you out an email, details of the program, get started on whatever date it is. You then will probably host an onboarding call. So you give them clear instructions of what's happening next, when the first class is. You book them in for one of the hours that you created on your timetable, and then you take the payment, okay? So again, we have, of course, loads of in-depth training that we work with on the teachers on delivering those sales calls, because sales isn't particularly a natural skill for teachers, and asking for money, okay, but obviously it is important to build an online tutoring side gig or full-time gig, right? Because you're going to have to sell your services to people who've only just seen you online, okay? And then in terms of taking payment, you can use Stripe, which is kind of like the main one. Just go to stripe.com. You can create an account. You can create payment links there, so you can just send it over. It links to your bank account, everything like that. PayPal. Obviously, with PayPal and Stripe, you're probably going to need to, but you do need to pay some processing fees. But even in the beginning, you can just use bank transfer. You can get them to transfer it. However, I would recommend one of the top 2, Stripe or PayPal. And the reason being is because in Stripe, you can create a payment plan and you can create a product link that's linked to your bank accounts. You can shoot the link over in the chat on Zoom or directly to them while you're speaking to them, and then they can go and pay there and then. And the reason why that's important is because you've delivered an amazing call with the parents and students, and so they're in an action-taking state of mind. So anything could happen if you say, hey, yeah, cool, just bank transfer it later on. They'll forget, and then the urgency is gone, all right? So you got them to a point where they really wanted to do this, and so you do want to try and take payment on that call. So PayPal, you can use paypal.me, okay? Create a PayPal account if you don't already have one and get them to PayPal it over there. Paypal.me allows you to just have a link, a little bit like Stripe, where you can just shoot a link over in the chat if you're speaking to them on Zoom, or you SMS it to them, and everyone's got PayPal, right? So they can do that. So they would be my preferred, but you can just get them to bank transfer if you need to, okay? Now, in terms of onboarding, what you're going to want to do is send the students a welcome email. So once you get off the phone, you're going to send them a welcome email. I'll just grab one for you. Let me just share this 1 second. All right, so if you look at my screen now, here's an example of a typical welcome email you might send. So you just load up your email service provider, whether it's Google, Gmail, whatever you're using, Outlook. Obviously, down the line, some people, you might be watching this, you've already got like an email CRM, meaning where you can create all sorts of automations, things like that. This isn't for that. This is, hey, you're just getting started. You've never done this before, right? So you would need to do this manually, right? So you just go and email the parent and student. Again, take a screenshot of this, take a snapshot of this screen so you can see it. You can write out your own version. Congratulations, Jimmy and Mrs. Smith or whatever. Welcome to my 30-day read on grade level program. Thank you for believing me to help your child boost their reading skills. To kick things off, here's everything you need. Step 1 will be attending an onboarding course. I'm going to walk you through what an onboarding call is in a sec. Okay, but essentially what you want to do is this can literally just be your first session, okay, if you want it to be. So you might actually add an extra week onto your program because week 1 can be an onboarding call. All that onboarding call is, it's simply just a call where you get all of the parents and the students to jump onto Zoom. They can watch the replay and you can send it out if they can't make it live. And you just set expectations for the next 30 days. Okay, the onboarding call could be the start assessment. Yeah, where you could introduce the parents and the students, everyone who's signed up. And again, I recommend you do this. Let's say that your classes were starting on the 1st of February, your first classes, or the previous week, you might host the onboarding call then. Or you could do, I used to run when I launched something like this before, I used to run my onboarding on the Friday before the new week started, or the Sunday. Okay, ready for the new week to begin. So everyone could log on to an onboarding call on Sunday. I could give them clear instructions so they knew how to attend classes. They knew what's expected of them. And so they could really get expectations aligned with all of my clients. Okay, so you can do an onboarding call. And again, it's just introducing to the program, getting people excited after their initial purchase, right? Now, so you could do that. And then if there's a big gap between, so again, like if you were starting this at the beginning of January, let's say, and your first class wasn't until the 1st of February, and you're going to use that entire time to try and fill your groups as much as you can, then you know that they're kind of hanging there in no man's land, right? Well, all you need to do is just give them some kind of key questions. This could actually be your start assessment. Before the first class begins, please take time to answer the questions for me and then send them back via email. So you could create just some sort of task. Or it could be the task, the onboarding, the pre-class start might be, hey, they've got to go and get a study guide from Amazon or whatever and read it. So it can just be something simple. It can just be answer some questions on their actual goals for their students, for the child. Okay, so just create some questions for them to answer and send you them back in the kind of lull in between when you made the enrollment to when their first class starts. Okay, so that's exactly what I was talking about, pre-class tasks. Just send them an email, as I showed you. Again, take a snapshot of that email. Short prep task, goal setting. It could be the start assessment or study recommendations from Amazon, or maybe you've already got some worksheets that you offer to students. And then the kickoff call, the week your lessons start, host an onboarding call on Zoom. Just get them excited, introduce them, and introduce the class, what's going to happen, the lesson framework of what you're going to be covering each week. Get them excited. You could even do the start assessment on that call. And to do this, anyone who enrolls, just create a list of their email lists. And exactly like I showed you earlier in this video, just create a calendar invite and send it to everybody, attach the Zoom link, and you can send the Zoom link out to them that way. If you already know when that's going to be, that onboarding call, you can also put all that info in the welcome email. So just adjust that email. Again, I'll show you again. You can take a snapshot of it. Just something simple like this. It's just an acknowledgement, right? Once they've enrolled. Okay. Now, so let's talk about the last bit, and that's upgrading students, okay? So step 5 is upgrading your students. And so if you're taking people on a initial 30-day intro plan or whatever, or introductory launch offer, then at the end of the 30 days, you've booked a one-on-one review call. You're going to want to book a one-on-one review call with the parents and the students, okay? So long term, as I said, you've got to play long term here, right? So long term, you want people signing up for more than 30 days, right? Because otherwise you don't have commitment inside of your business. You don't have continuation. It's hard to predict things. You don't have margins. You don't have predictability, right? So that you can have predictability, you want students to commit ideally to about a 12-week period. It's also been proven that 90 days commitment to anything is a great time frame to see great results, right? So that's another reason why. So get 12 weeks commitment long-term after you've got enough students for this 30-day offer, and then just explain to new clients that, hey, after the initial 12 weeks, it just goes on to a rolling monthly continuation where you can cancel anytime as long as you give 2 weeks notice or whatever, okay? And then what you're going to do, a 12-week offer, you need to increase the value. So you're going to present this to all of those initial 30-day launch program students that sign up with you, okay? So what you do for 12 weeks to increase the value, this is optional. Like, you can go to 2 lessons a week. I'd recommend it purely because of the fact that if you think about it, how can you get your students better results? Because results for you with your students is everything, right? Results equals more sales. So if you can see them more, if you can get in front of the students more, are you going to get them better results? Absolutely. So if you can offer 2 lessons a week, great. You could offer a drop-in class. And this could just be like a homework club, and you could just, or office hours, we call it, where you could open up like a 30-minute block on your calendar once per week. Any students can come. We've had clients do things really well with, let's use reading it as an example, because I shared that in this video, where they do book club. And so it's just another opportunity for the students to come in and the teacher reads them a book and they get the students to read different parts of it. Or you could just do Q&A. That works better for older students, or like a homework club. So you can add in that. You could add in a parent or student community on like WhatsApp. So you could create a chat where you could really kind of build this thriving community of the parents, announcement thread so you can keep everyone updated. Some schools use things like Class Dojo and things like that. If you haven't seen that app, it's pretty cool. I know they use it at the school that my kids go to. And it's a pretty great way for the teacher to communicate with the parents and make announcements and updates and build that community feel. So you could use stuff like that. And then over time, you could have a self-study curriculum, right? Meaning a learning portal where you could send the students to do some work. You definitely do not need that in the beginning, but probably as you get to like 50, maybe 100 students plus down the line, and as you've got time, that might be something that you build out, and that's additional value, okay? We actually give our clients a program cheat sheet. So if I load this up very quickly and give you a sneak preview. So we have a program deliverables cheat sheet. So based on where you're at in your business, we've been just going through here, offer phase number 1, the irresistible case study offer, right? Your launch offer. So we've kind of covered what you need to provide your students there. Program offer phase 2 is exactly like what we're walking through now, something around about a 12-week time commitment. And then the deliverables you might offer are things like 2 group lessons, a one weekly onboarding call, a community, probably a strategically placed one-on-one call. This can be monthly. And that's where you might need to, at some point, hire teachers in to help with this. It could be just every 6 weeks. So if you think about teachers in a school, they give feedback during parents' evening to the parents. Right? So this could just be every 6 weeks. It could be once per term. But you kind of want to see if you think of it as peaks and valleys, meaning students are going to be on a real high when they first get started, right? But perhaps 6 weeks down the line, maybe their motivation's dropping. So they're at the bottom of the valley. So that way you can get them on a call, get them motivated, give them some feedback. And so these only need to be quick 10-minute, 15-minute check-ins. They need to be like that. So I know that's what the teachers at a lot of schools do. They just go back to back to back to back to back for 10 minutes, but it is going to help you with things like retention, okay? And then maybe some sort of support channel. And so offer phase 3, that's when you really look to embed this kind of weekly catch-up class. And I wouldn't ever do that until you've got at least 25 students, and also some sort of student learning hub, online curriculum, and actually additional one-on-one calls as well, okay? So how do you structure the pricing in this? Well, what I would do initially after you've done your launch program, if you're literally just starting out, I would probably start on tier 1. Okay, now we've tested a ton of different price points, and we've kind of found like these are kind of sweet spots to move teachers through as you gain results. end sales experience, obviously you can increase your rates way further. Yeah. But tier 1 is like, hey, 500 if they pay for the 12 weeks up front, and then 750 if they want to put it into a payment plan. So that's kind of that 250 that we landed on right at the beginning. And so that would be where you would start. So you're just basically moving them onto that top tier of 250 per month, but you're giving them an incentive. If they pay for it up front, you're essentially giving them a month free here, okay, at 500. Now, this is really key, because what this does is it brings cash into your business. It creates more predictability. And because you've got the cash, you've got now better margins to potentially hire teachers, provide a better experience for your students. Because if you've got more teachers, you can provide a better experience. You don't then have to do all the teaching, because as your business grows, you're going to need to focus on other things, speaking to new parents, funding advertising budgets, things like that. And so you do want to give people an incentive to pay up front. And as I said, what you would do is just whatever this works out to a monthly fee, you just let them know after the 12 weeks, it will just move on to a continual monthly payment of X, which will be 250 in this case, unless you give 2 weeks notice. Okay, you can cancel any time, but it's an initial 12-week commitment. Okay. Tier 2, you can see the different tiers. You can then go 750 if they pay it in full, the 12 weeks, or 300 or 900 if they need to split it up, okay, and pay monthly. Tier 3 is 1,000 or potentially 1,200 if they split it monthly. Okay. Now, we find this is a real sweet spot for our clients to get to. So, I shared with you the example results of teachers doing 6 figures, and I said that would be one of the things that I'd walk you through here. Well, picture this. If you want to get to 6 figures, right, in your business, it's about 8,333 or whatever it works out to a month. Right? But let's just call it 10 grand a month. Yeah. So let's say you want to make 10K a month teaching online, and obviously that's going to be 120 grand a year. Now, the reason why I was, again, showing you most of those screenshots at the start is because a lot of the clients get to this tier 3, okay? While they charge $1,000, and then if you're charging $1,000 for your students, you only need to make 10 new sales a month, okay? Just 10 sales. That's all it takes. And then you're bringing in 10 grand a month. Now, of course, at that point, as your business starts to stack and grow, you're going to have some students paying on payment plans. So you start to have a lot of recurring revenue as well. And then some people are going to be paying in full. So if you get to here, that's a real nice sweet spot. So you can make 6 figures online. Okay. Obviously, you can do it different ways as well. If you're continually charging just 500 for 12 weeks, then, like, what's that? That's 20 students that you need to sign up each month. Okay. And again, some people will be on recurring payment plans. And I wouldn't, by the way, long term, teach more than 10 hours myself. That's really key. As I was explaining, so you can work on all of the areas of the business, because at that point, you're going to be able to hire teachers to help teach some of your lessons. And that's how you can continue to grow. Just like a school would need to do. It doesn't start off, a brand new school doesn't open and they've got 1 million different teachers or 50 teachers, right? They probably have 1 class per year group or grade. And then as the enrollment expands, because the school's getting a bigger name, it's improving, then more people are going to want to enroll into the school. So it creates more demand. So what does the school have to do? They have to create new classes, and therefore they have to hire new teachers. It's the same process as just your business. Okay. Now, what you could do with your initial launch students, you absolutely could say to them, hey, because you were one of my founding students, I'm going to let you put the $97 or pounds or 197, whatever it was you charged for that 30-day towards the full tuition if you continue. Okay. And this is where I said you've got to be thinking long-term, because these students are going to set you up, your initial ones, for long-term success. Because now in 5 years, imagine where your business would be if you've managed to do this in just a few weeks, right? And then in terms of when you look to increase your rates and you're wondering, when do you move from tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3? Well, to be honest, it's going to depend on sales skills. A lot of it is going to come down to that, your ability to sell. It's going to come down, the more results and testimonies you're able to collect from your parents and students, then obviously it's going to make selling easier. And it could also depend on age range as well. We have a lot of clients who are charging way more than $1,500 or £1,500 or whatever it is because of the amount of results that they've got for their students, and also because of the urgency. If it's someone looking to pass, like an exam to get into a top college or gain a scholarship, you probably charge a lot more for that, right? So in terms of when do you increase the price, though, here's a rule of thumb. If out of the amount of students that you speak to, you're enrolling 40% of them. So let's say you speak to 10 parents and students next week, and 4 of them enroll, that's pretty good, okay? 40% plus, that's a sign that you can try and test a higher price point. Now, you don't have to go in jumps like I've shared here on the tier system. Obviously, we've done this a lot of times, so it's probably better just to do what we've seen work. Now, you can just increase it by 20 to 25% each time. That's a good rule of thumb. And then also, if 50% and above of the students, so more than half or more of people are paying in full. So you're presenting, hey, if you want to pay in full for the 12 weeks, it's this amount, and 50% plus take that offer, then that's a good indicator to increase your rate, okay? Now, in terms of how you sell this then, what I'd recommend you do, every student that enrolls into your launch program, make sure you book a one-on-one call with the parent so it is locked in the diary. This is obviously the review call, right? Make sure it's scheduled on the calendar for somewhere between like 28 to 35 days down the line. So you're having it in that 5th week or even slightly before that, okay? And then just follow the framework below. So you just do the same thing, send them a calendar invite, make sure it's on the calendar, okay? Now, in terms of how you deliver those calls, part 1, you're just talking about their wins, their achievements, what they did well over the launch program, 30-day period, and really highlight something that the student did really well. You really want to start on a positive note and ask them what they enjoyed the most. What did they see? What did they like? Did they like the structure of the lessons? How did it make them feel? Did they like the organization? Did I like the accountability? Did I like the actual lessons? Really try and get them to zone in on some of the wins or highlights that they had during that 30-day period, okay? Then you can move through course progress, engagement, walk through attendance, and the type of assessment results that you covered. And then what I would do here is you want to make some suggestions of and pinpoint as a teacher, where does the student need to improve? Here's what they need to do to improve, okay? So you really want to give them some guidance and also ask their next targets as well. What are your personal targets? What are your academic targets? So again, you're kind of just repeating that sales process I walked you about before with point A, where they've now got to, because their current situation should have changed. And now what is a dream situation now after they've been working with people. And as I was saying, during that, you're of course expanding that gap, telling them where they need to improve, because now you know the student a little bit, you know what they're capable of, what they're not capable of, so you can give some actual expertise and guidance, right, based on knowing them. Then create a 90-day learning plan. So say, hey, here's what I would recommend for Jimmy to get there and improve his reading levels and jump 2 grades over the next 90 days. And create a few action steps, okay? And now all you're doing from there is like, hey, would you like to hear about how I can help Jimmy do this? Now, obviously, you've built a lot of trust, a lot of value over that 30-day period. Of course, they're going to want to hear your recommendations. And you just tell them about your extension program, your 12-week program, what's new, what additional value are you including in it to make sure they can succeed. Now, if you don't want to keep working with the student, obviously don't make that offer, okay? So if it doesn't make sense to go through the continuing to work with the student, don't make the offer and let them know kind of what the next steps are from here. You're going to be offboarding them and whatever you want to suggest, okay? You might suggest another tutor. You might just give some feedback to the parent or student what they can work on to continue improving if you don't want to keep working with them yourself. But obviously, if you do want to keep working with that student or parent, tell them what the next 12 weeks looks like, present the investment, and then if you can, on this call, collect a testimonial as well, okay? If you've got time, do it on the call. It'll just save a ton of time, okay, and having to rearrange it with the parent and the student. And if you don't have time, arrange a date and time in the next couple of days, okay, when you can do it. Okay. Now you can, if you forget to do that, what I would do to get your testimonials from the parents and students is really highlight a win, message them and say, hey, you don't even have to wait until the end. Actually, what you could do is, let's say that 3 weeks in, you see Jimmy, one of the students, is doing really well and has made a big improvement. Message that parent or student, or ask them to stay behind at the end of the lesson and say, hey, Jimmy, can you get mum to jump on? And you could be asking them questions there and then, hey, Jimmy's getting amazing at his vocab or his fluency in his reading or whatever. Are you noticing a difference at home? And you can ask a series of questions then, and then at the end of that, you can say to the parent, say, hey, what you just said, because you could tee those questions up. How is it motivating him? How is he enjoying it? Would you recommend this to other parents then? And so you could be asking questions like that. So you can collect testimonials on the spot at any time, and then just say, hey, what you said was really inspirational. I think other parents would love to hear feedback like that. Is there any chance I could share that? And so you can use testimonials and collect them that way. And then you can obviously just edit the videos, find a video editor and use it that way. So if you can, do that on the review call, but be on the lookout all the time when you can collect potential testimonials. Okay. If you don't have time on the review call, book in a separate session with the parent and student for the testimonial, ideally as soon as possible, because obviously they're on a high. Okay. Now, hopefully they'll continue working with you. And again, we've been through a lot here, but if you follow this, that will be enough to help you, start making some side income from tutoring and potentially take this full time. And that's literally the best way to start online tutoring in 2025. Okay. Now, if you enjoyed the video, go and check out some of our stuff. Obviously, a lot of clients, like the ones I shared with you at the start, who are making 6 figures, we've worked with over 3,000 teachers at this point. So it's safe to say we know what we're doing. And a lot of clients, they come to us. Why? Because they want to minimize the risk of trying to do this on their own. Okay, they want the accountability, they want the support, they want the guidance, they want all the templates, the coaching, and they just want it laid out for them step by step. Because there's only so much you can learn in a YouTube video, right? That's why 95% of people who watch free stuff don't get results. I know there's a lot in here that you can use to get results, and I hope you do. That's my goal with this, because I know if you can get results after watching this video, you're going to want to perhaps work with us at a greater level anyway and hire us. And that's the goal here. But if you're just wanting to shortcut that process immediately, this is good. You'd like to learn a ton more. A couple of ways you can do that is you can grab my book, Teaching on Your Own Terms. That'll give you some more insight. This went to bestseller in 7 categories. It's being featured by NASDAQ in Times Square, New York City. I'll put the link in the comments below, but you can just go to teachonyourownterms.com/buy, and you can grab a copy of that, or you can get it from Amazon. If you get it on our site though, teachonyourownterms.com/buy, you get a few extra bonuses and things like that. That's why it's worth getting from there. Or reach out to us at the Teacher Project, teacherproject.io, and we can help you get set up. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hit like, hit subscribe, either get the book or book in a call to speak with us, and we'll help you get started and make sure that you can make more money from teaching online. Speak soon.